Lord, spelled Lord. Oh my goodness. We finally got some rain in Connecticut. We're having a crazy thunderstorm now. So, just in case, and Dolores is in the background, you guys. If you could just hold the comments until I get a chance to see them with my big eyes. Thank you, Dolores. And my Renaissance grandma was here bright and early. My Yankee sister is in the bushes. And I know the storm is going up where she is. Maria Graham, she says it's 97. Ooh, Lordy. I was rushing so fast, I forgot to even take a Tylenol from this morning. One knows that folks with osteoarthritis needs a Tylenol in the afternoon. Good gracious of life, Maria Graham says it's 97 degrees. So I will wait a minute and give people a chance to come in. Okay. So Dolores sent to me a link. I sent a link to you, Maria Graham, and after I do my show and tell, we will bring you up live, and you can go in the green room whenever you want, but you might as well sit in the chat and enjoy everybody until at least 5:30, 5:45, something like that. I'm looking at this crazy dark out there. Good gracious of life. Bouge, prepa, mi sobrina. Welcome, bienvenido. So, is everybody busy? I just want to say one thing, everybody. Actually, I want to ask you a question. And this is the honest to goodness truth between you and your Nana, you and your Auntie Ellen. How many of you have ever in your whole life, as long as you've been alive and living, and your behind points to the ground, how many of you, who has ever gone over the speed limit, let's say by at least 5 miles per hour? How many have exceeded the speed limit more than 5 miles per hour? Put a 1 in the chat, because I have something I want to tell you. No, it's not a confession in case any of my kids or grandkids or my mother or great grandkids and great great grandkids ever see this and they tell on Nana banana, Nana nana banana. What's it? Nana nana banana, banana fana, fo fana, fee fi mo anna, Nana. And just in case, NT of you, put a 1 in the chat if you have ever, as long as you live and your butt points to the ground, exceeded the speed limit by 10 miles per hour when you were driving. So what I am doing is trying to pull up. I'm not ignoring you guys. Uh-oh. Praise the Lord and shame the devil. So I gave myself a thumbs up. I think I did, because I want to tell you something. Because I have a next question. What am I doing? I hate rushing into the last minute. I was rushing so hard. Whoa. You know, when I was a little girl, it's crazy out there. It's like boom, boom, boom. But when we used to go to Pennsylvania, in those old houses, I'm just trying to pull up the chat here. Garden. Well, in our show, because we used to go to Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, sometimes they had those lightning rods in the houses. Sometimes they didn't. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother lived in the country. They were just put their cakes in the oven with the wood and everything. But in Pennsylvania, the coal stoves in the mountains and everything would shake. My grandmother would make us, she didn't say hush. She did not know how to say hush. No, mommy, I'm not talking about your mother. I wouldn't do that. I'm the good daughter. But she would say, different dialects, different parts of the country. She would say Hirsch, Hirsch, meaning hush. And you know what? To this day, if I get excited and I want someone to be quiet, well, we were not allowed to say shut up, or we could say quiet, but I I still say hush, hush. Do any of you do any of you have words from your past, your grandparents? You don't know where they came from, but you just say them. You know, whether it's a country word like handkerchief, handkerchief, meaning handkerchief, or whatever. I just learned how to say it. Y'all judge me because I speak Connecticut and I can't help it. But I also speak other languages like Pennsylvania. And my grandmother said, hush. But she would say, hush. And she meant it. She would say it loud. And my grandmother was like 4'11", 4'10". And then she would say, she'd get her little switch, right? I'm going to welcome you all in a minute. She would get her little switch and she would try to climb up on the bottom bunk bed because we had two sets of bunks. At one time, there were two boys and two girls, and we were pretty close together in age. And she would get up there with her little switch or her little strap and tell us to hush, hush. Well, I would go up there because, I'd be the freshest. I would be hollering and screaming, ow, ow, ow. My grandmother has been in her grave since the 1980s. That thing never hit me one time. I was faking. Yeah, the good daughter, she was faking. Bouger Prepper, our treasured home. Hi, Bouger. So, Bouger got a $200 ticket, pulled off and drove home the same speed. She never said what her speed was. Okay, this is what I want you, Karen's little garden. I want you to put in the chat, what is the highest speed you have ever driven? Hello, everyone. Karen's little garden says, what is the highest speed you have ever driven? Or let's say, put it this way, what is the highest speed you have ever been in the car when it was driven? Bougie got, I think that her ticket was an 80 and a 60. Yep, we had to go get our own switch and make sure it was big enough. LOL. Yeah, my grandmother used to try to get us to go to get a switch, but her Yankee grandchildren only came down in the summertime. And me being a daddy's girl, you could look at me like you're going to spank me or get a switch, and I'd be like, if my sister Joanne Stephen comes in here, I was the biggest drama queen. Daddy, I was trying so hard, Dad, and the fish didn't get cleaned, and Grandma, oh boy, 110 doing investigations. We ain't gonna talk about investigating what our church at home. I was a performer for life. Okay, keep putting in. And then I had sensitive skin. I had allergies. You could do this, boo, and I would get a bruise. My face would turn red. All you had to do is pretend you smacked me, and I'm going to pinch it up and go home and tell Daddy, Daddy, Pen. My name is Penny. That's what my family calls me. Pen, what's the matter? He pat me on my leg and say, don't cry, Pen. Daddy. Yeah, Mommy, if you're listening, mother, ego amote. I didn't I didn't tell daddy on you, mom. I was just saying that somebody was picking on me and my dad he didn't allow it. I couldn't talk to boys on the phone in high school. I could be walking down the street on my way home in middle school, and my dad had a trucking and painting business, and he had a couple big dump trucks slash big trucks, and I'd be talking to a boy. The boys would see me, they would take off running because Big Joe didn't play that. You don't talk to his daughters. What? What? Everybody's laughing. Yes, I was a little bit spoiled. I don't know how I got like that. So, all of you who put a 1 in the chat, now the rest of you, please put how fast you have ever been in a car being driven in your whole life. Whether it was a bougie, she was big girl, she pulled him up, and she said 80 miles in a 60. I'm going to tell you guys a funny story because I we would not have been friends as sharets. Oh yes, I was a little. Oh, our church at home 110 doing investigations. So I'm going to tell you a story because we won't be on long tonight because I just got in. My hair is soaking wet. Tried to spritz it up. My t-shirt says Miss Shirley O.G. Gardner says hello. Hello, sis. When I first started the channel, it was going to be traditions with a ZS. Then nobody knew what a traditions was. It was about 8 generations of life on Earth. I have been alive for 8 generations. There are 6 living generations now. A lady was driving her car at 101. She verbally lost all respect for her. I don't know if it's one of her children or grandchildren, but I just want to say this. Okay, one more question. The car that you drive now, or any car you've ever driven, what is the highest miles per hour that your car would go? Oh, Miss Shirley, get it, girl. Boom. Oh, Miss Shirley was getting that thing. Oh, Miss Shirley, my sister. They're glad you're doing better. But I just want to say, just because I don't drive all the time, even now, age 75, I have access to a car that I can drive whenever I want to. And the other day I was just noticing that the speed limit says 140. Oh my goodness. Who ever knew that a Jeep Grand Cherokee in this day and age still goes 140? Uh-oh. Our church at home says the highest her van would go is 140. Well, that's good. It must have probably was a town and country, Chrysler van. But I just want to say this. No, mom. But somebody used to drive 180 on the regular. People say, who drives 180? Have you ever been to Europe? Have you ever driven on the Autobahn? There is no speed limit. You go as far as you want. But I digress. Never been to that part of Europe. Never been on that part of the Autobahn. I was doing 180 in these US of United States. But it was legal. It was legal. I just want to say this because some of you know that my first job after college, I applied for the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C. 124 pounds. I had to get up to 135 to get the job. Me with all my pew-pews, all my equipment, everything. But I was assigned we had to take a defensive driving course, and the popo car for the highway, the regular popo cars were 160, the speed limit. The rest of the car, the highway car was 180. So I was assigned to the highway car. So I wanted to make sure that nobody was exceeding the speed limit. So I would go up and down Kenilworth. I forgot what that is now, what they call that. Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD-ish chick, could probably tell you. But yes, I used to fly up and down 180 just to go get a donut or whatever, or see who everybody was being good. Everybody's saying, close a Dodge Grand Caravan. Oh, I used to have a Dodge Grand Caravan. I loved it. I loved it. I took the middle seat out, and I used to have show dogs, Cane Corso Italian Mastiffs, and I could put the big kennels back there. Then when I got more than two, I could go to the dog shows and pull a tag along van. What I call a tag along van is the one like Lead Farmer uses now and hangs out in. So it is 6. It's about 6:15, and I said that's when we will start doing our projects. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And don't forget to give the thumbs up. Let me see if I gave myself the thumbs up. Nope. So please give our channel the thumbs up. I'm checking. And Bougie Prepper, she's so polite, so respectful. She's saying hello to her elders, which would be me, one of them. Our treasured home is saying LOL, LOL. So let's go over. You got a $200 ticket, pulled off and drove the same speed. Oh, I want to tell you two quick funny stories. So, one funny story, I was the popo, me, Auntie Ellen. I was the popo in Washington, D.C., and my daughter stepped on a needle and it broke off in her foot in Connecticut. Well, I was a young mother, a single mom, and my parents raised my daughter. So they called me and told me that they were taking her to the emergency room and she was going to have surgery. So I hopped in my personal car, which at that time was a powder blue Cadillac, Coupe de Ville, and I started driving to Connecticut. Well, I had some flowers on the back seat. By the time, hey, sissy, Joanne Stevens, Auntie Joanne will tell you this. So this was 1960, about 19, oh, it had to be 1973 because I was already the popo and I was driving my Cadillac Coupe de Ville from DC to Connecticut because my daughter broke a needle off in her foot. Well, I had the windows down. I was driving. I gets to about Baltimore, Maryland, and the police always know where the speed traps were. I used to drive the car to see the speed traps. So I get to a little thing, and I'm like, oh, I bet somebody's over there. And I had a fuzzbuster. For those of you who don't know what a fuzzbuster is, it's one of those things you're not supposed to have in the car that detects police radar. So as soon as my fuzzbuster goes off, I hit the brake. I looks over and I see a siren coming on. I'm like, oh, like Bammett, Arthur Bammett. I said it with a D. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I couldn't get over to the right side of the curve. I pulls over to the left side, and I get out of my car and I sit on the guardrail, right? And the police officer comes, hey, Juicing with Jay, thank you for coming and welcome. And I pull over And I'm showing my hands, I'm showing everything so nobody gets nervous because my pew pew is in the trunk. So the police officer comes over, and I don't know how much I was going over the speed limit before I slammed on brakes. And he asked me, where do you live? What do you do for a living? So I told him, I said, do what you do. He said, what is that? I said, I'm a police officer. He said, do you have your ID on you? I said, yes. He said, do you have your service revolver on you? I said, yes, it's in the back. So my badge and ID was in the front. I showed it to him. He said, why didn't you say that? What am I supposed to tell you? I'm going more than 10 miles over the speed limit because of a family emergency. I didn't want you to think I was throwing myself on the mercy of the court, whatever. So he broke the ticket down to, I think, 1 mile over whatever, like you could go 5 miles over the speed limit. So he broke it down because you had to pay. You had to pay for those. And yeah. So I did that. But I used to drive regularly 180 miles an hour. Was not scared. Used to drive the paddy wagon. I wasn't afraid to drive a 25-foot Penske truck from the West Coast to the East Coast and pulling a tow dolly. Why? Because I had my big girls on and I was trained to not be scared of anything. So we are going to have a guest today. Maria Graham says, hi, Mom. Couple folks put a 1 in the speed limit. They went over 10 miles over the speed. Oh. Mother! I'm not telling on you, Mom, because my mother had 6 kids. And when I was in college, she had 3 kids in college at the same time. Auntie Joanne went to school in Boston, and my brother Bill went to school in Boston. I went to school at Howard University. Uncle Bill was at Tufts University. Auntie Joanne was at Boston College. So my mother would drop me off, which was the furthest distance away, at Howard University. Then she would have to drive all the way back to Connecticut. Daddy worked 3 jobs. He didn't have time to take. Why wasn't Daddy doing it? Daddy was paying the bills and the rent and the mortgage and for the trucks and tuition and everything else we needed. Then Mom would come back to Connecticut and she would have to drive my brother and my sister to Boston. And one last funny story before we go over there. So my sister Clara would be in the back. We going through the tunnels, going through Boston, right? And Clara would say, "Oh, Mommy, I feel like screaming." So my mother would say, "Okay, go ahead and scream." Clara, my sister passed early. It's not funny, but that was the sister most like me. And she would stick her head out after the toll booth and the tunnel and scream to the top of her lungs. One time we got pulled over because the police thought some kids were being abused. So now, welcome everybody to Garden Quilt and Art Show, where good friends become family and family is everything. I would like to thank the moderators. I would like to thank the channel members. I would like to thank anybody who has ever contributed to this channel in any way. This channel would not be what it is if not for you, and you. I am an almost 76-year-old with a YouTube channel. I just did it during the shutdown because I used to teach volunteer classes in different senior centers, whatever, and it was unsafe to go out without a mask, whatever. Just gifted. Hey, Sonia. I'm well. How are you? Thank you for coming. And I wanted to do something to give back. And I wanted to keep showing the 8 generations of skills that I have learned so that I could pass them on to others. My children, I was so busy when I was young trying to earn a living. Told you that my mother raised my daughter. My son, I was remarried, my second marriage, and I raised him at home. Sometimes my daughter was with me. Most of the time, my parents raised her. And I just wanted to make a living, to take care of my children, to try to contribute to my parents, to try to be the best that I could be. Because growing up, I learned in school that whoever had the most toys won the game. So I was trying to win the game and get the most toys. I now know that doesn't matter who has the most toys. Doesn't matter if you have any toys. What matters is that you are in good health, you are happy, you are loved, and you are loving others. So that's what matters now. So jump up, jump up, jump up. Just got certified yesterday in my what is it? My physical PT for 6 more weeks of therapy. You know, somebody bumped me with a 50 pound, 40 pound kettle weight. Ah, oh yes, it hurt. So I complained. And of course, I got 6 more weeks of therapy. So I'm doing my leg presses with 60 pounds of weight, 20 reps. I do 30 squats, 10 reps with my hands in the proper position, all that stuff. And all that stuff. And I said that twice. What is that? Turrets? I don't have turrets. I just am going on to the next thought and forget it. So, what we are doing today, as the thumbnail says, we are working on covered boxes. Why? Because I try to bring you all along to whatever I am doing. Before I go over there, I always say that. One last thing. Yankee sister and I hang up on, say, we're hanging up like 10 times. Keep talking. Keep talking. I talked to Maria Graham. I said, okay, I'll be back. But I took down the Underground Railroad quilt that I had up there. This is an art quilt that I made with the continent of Africa. Each country is made with a different, authentic African fabric, and each country has a different fabric. I don't know if I can. No, I can't lift it up, but you can see it, and you can see Madagascar. I just want to make it bigger. This is an art. This is a museum quality quilt that I took my time and did, and that's why this is something called basil. It looks like satin or something. It's not. Each one of these pieces was individually cut, individually pieced, and I will be showing it or lending it to different museums that show African American art, African American quilting. Why do I say African American? It doesn't matter what you are. What matters is that you get a chance to have your skill set shown, and everybody doesn't do the same type of quilting. I just want to point out that this, like all these strips, these were cut one by one by one by one by one because I wanted them to be scrappy. I wanted them to be original. I didn't want to cut them with a rotary cutter or buy fabric that was 2.5 inches wide. Each one of these is individual and a different type of fabric. And then just to separate the ocean and to show it was an ocean, I put a little bit of blue. This is a blue hand dyed batik. And I just wanted to show you what I really do when I'm not teaching arts and crafts or showing you here. I just want to share with you some of the skills that I've learned. My background is in business. My background is in law, not the popo. After I quit that job after 6 years, I went back to graduate school and I got some degrees in paralegal studies. I went to law school for 2 years. So that's what I did, but I've always had a background in law and in business. So when I retired, I took my first art class at age 66. The only art class I ever had before that was elementary school. So when I was 66, I took a class on watercolor and then drawing, and they were like regular college courses, but I wanted to learn the right way to do it. But now I do whatever Lola wants, Lola gets, and that's what I do. Art is art, and I just want you to know that I do whatever I feel like doing. But before, oh, I got the wrong one out. This is actually seltzer water. I'm trying not to make it spill on my lap. Trying to stay hydrated. This was supposed to be homemade lemon water. So we will have a surprise guest in a few minutes. And what we're doing today, as the thumbnail says, we left rather abruptly last Saturday and we were making a covered box. When I have all these scraps left over, I put them in a box and I was supposed to be making a what's called a strip quilt where you put all these pieces in, but I didn't do it. Auntie, can you put up StreamYard so I can join the live? Maria, I sent you a direct. If you go on your email, I sent you a direct link to StreamYard because I won't be on that long today, and you can directly connect to that. So I don't know if you can hear me, Maria Graham, but if you check your email, I did send it to you. If you did not get it, please let me know and I will drop the link. But because we won't be on that long, I don't want to drop the link and then get off topic. The link today, you guys, is about making covered boxes and turning them into art, and specifically finishing the box that we started last Saturday. So, Dolores is in the back, you guys, and she put up what you need to do this. You can make this box with fabrics. You can make it with paper. The paper being scrap paper. It can be wrapping paper. It can be tissue paper. It can be napkins. It can be whatever you want. And thank you, Dolores, for putting up. She covered up my big booty walking over here. So, Maria Graham, let me know. Um, Maria Graham, you want to come up next week? You can come up anytime you like. Just let me know ahead of time, and we will be happy to have you. Do you have, but I don't want to, because I talked to you earlier. We texted when I was out. I want you to, if you prepared something for today, I want you to be happy. I want you to come up. We want to see what you have. Other than me, Auntie Ellen yapping, I'd be more than happy to let you come up. Put a 1 in the chat if you got your email that I sent you for the link. Now, I want to show you what I use for arts and crafts. My great grandson thinks it's horrible. I buy these hospital pads that are blue on one side and paper on the other. and I can roll them up. I can use them for cutting vegetables in my garden, in my yard, for whatever. And Maria, we're still waiting to let you see if you come up. We'll give you time. But last Saturday, we started covering boxes with scraps. And then somebody went live and they announced it. And I didn't want to hold you guys up. So we all stopped what we were doing. But I finished covering my box. You know what? There may be still. No, I took the fabric out. So I just took bits and pieces of fabric. And if you see this, a lot of pink on here, it was because those of you who have been following the channel, you know that I made, or I was working on a quilt for Dolores. So what I did to cover this box, is there anybody who has the scraps available or the things that Dolores just put up? Dolores, can you please put that back up? Dolores is not able to chat in the back, but she put up a list. So if you want to make this, I used it from a box. It's actually just like the box I'm using that my computer is on right now. Fabric scraps. You can use colored paper. The colored paper being tissues, uh, like the colored tissues that you put on boxes, napkins, wrapping paper, old magazine covers, scissors, glue, a sturdy box, Modpodge, or a sealer of your choice. Dolores, if you can leave that up there just a minute, because I'm going to take my earplug out and go get a paper plate. That was the one thing I didn't get. So I can pour some of this Mod Podge onto. All right. All right. I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain. That was my dad's favorite song. Okay, I'm back. So, I don't know if you all could hear me singing out of tune, but last Sunday, I think it was last Sunday, was Father's Day, or the Sunday before. And, okay. Well, how about this? We can drop the, Dolores, you can drop the link for the chat right now and the chat. And I will ask people, anyone who is working only on the box, to come up so that we can stay on track and get out. The holidays are coming. It's summer, you guys. It's the longest day of the year was actually a couple days ago. And if Dolores has asked Maria to look at her link and come up. So there it is, Maria. If anybody else would like to come up and work on the box so that we stay on track. Okay, I'm going to the bottom. Anybody else? That's okay, Dolores. Dolores dropped the link. Maria, there's the link. Okay, all you have to do is make sure that your volume is down. Let me see if mine is down. How about that? Yeah, my volume is off. My do not disturb. My do not disturb sign is on. Okay. So now I'm going to put the phone in the holder. And
hi, Auntie Ellen.
You guys is the box that I put up.
She can't hear you.
Okay, Dolores, don't start the live because I can't really see Maria Graham yet. We want to make sure everything is up before we put the people up.
Yeah, her volume is working and her camera is on. I think it's the
Oh,
lighting. She just needs to sit where it's
oh,
a little bit.
her lighting.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, hold on just a minute, Maria. Thank you for
Open
coming.
this
So, I want
on
to
the
show
mod.
you. Oh, okay, I don't know what's going on. So, this is Auntie Ellen's finished box, and there are several kinds of Mod Podge. This is a giant jar that I've had since forever of regular Mod Podge. I'm using fabric, and there is a special Mod Podge for fabric, and it has a blue on it. I use it for my beads, but I'm not going to use it just for this old junky box. No, I didn't say junky box. This is going to be a piece of art when I finish it. But what I'm going to do is cover it now with Mod Podge, and I have a couple of brushes. But the thing is, what I want to tell you, when you use the Dolores, can you take that down until it's finished? The extra one. All right, thank you. So when you use the brushes, you're not brushing it on, you're like mashing it in. So these boxes are finished. We're going to open the Mod Podge. We'll bring Maria up in a minute to show what she's been working on. I'm so excited, and she is excited as well. I know she can't see the chat when she's working. Maria Graham, Joanne Stevens is saying, oops, I guess I should have put some gloves on. So I'm going to put this on, and I just want to show you. Okay, so I'm going to, oops, it's dripping. I'm going to take a little bit of the Mod Podge and put it on a plate, only so that I can show you this in case I'm not sure what stage Maria's box is finished. So what I did was take a heavy duty sturdy box, I glued fabric strips, and what I'm going to do is, I know that I have it up, but what I want to show you is this. When you put the Mod Podge on, it's kind of a decoupage. I want you to hold it up, and I want you to dab it in. It's going to dry clear. Can you see what I'm doing? And there are glue guns, there are whatever you want to do. So now I'm going to show this way because it looks opaque. You see down here where I put it? But it's actually dropping it in, and it'll dry clear and opaque. Okay, so let's see if. Oh, and one last thing I want to tell you guys. After this dries with a Mod Podge, it's a glossy, and it is just regular that you can use for paper, for anything. What I'm going to do is add this. It's a second sealer, and it's a matte varnish. For those of you who have channels, would like to share your link so that others can find you, it is exclamation mark GQUAT. And I hope I didn't just put glue in my hair. Okay, so, so is Maria ready to come up yet?
No, ma'am. She disappeared again. I think she was trying to set her phone up and it wasn't working.
Oh, that's okay. But that's why I try to give everybody a chance to come up sooner. And she can come up next week. So I am. Can you see me with this Mod Podge? Those of you, it's a sticky kind of you know what? If you don't have Mod Podge, you can actually do this with Elmer's glue watered down. All this does is make it adhere, and you will see that there are little brown pieces of the actual box. I wasn't trying to cover it all up. I just wanted to make this. And you know what this is for? This is a box that I made to put my jean pockets in because it was pretty. Just gifted. Miss Sonia says exclamation mark. GQUAT. Maria Joanne Stevens is happy to see you. Okay, Maria, that's okay. You can come up next time or just hop back in the chat. Oops. Try not to get this Modpodge. You know what, you guys? I live in a handicap apartment now. Some of you know that who've been following a while. But I hate carpet. But you know why there's carpet in here? Because I'm a senior citizen. What do old people do? Elders do? They fall. Do you want them to break a hip and end up dying? No. You see so many times where people say, oh, so and so fell and broke their hip and they died. So they make sure that folks over here don't die, or they make sure that you're able to get up. I don't know. I remember one time that my mom had, I think, a hip replace. No, she never had a hip replacement. She had a knee replacement, and she was outside the family house, and she was watering her flowers. My mother has thousands of perennials in her yard, and she said that she fell somewhere out front between the walkway and one of the stone walls, and she couldn't get back up. And I was like, I never understood why mommy couldn't get up until I got old and I fell and I couldn't get back up. Elderly, older in age. I don't know what to say, mother. She'll straighten me out when I get there Sunday. But anyway, I could not get up. And I'll tell you what I was doing. I was sitting on the sofa because there's a bright light in back of there, and I dropped a spool of thread. Well, the thread decided it wanted to roll underneath the sofa, and I couldn't reach it with my hands. If I got up, because I had a hip replacement, a right knee replacement, a left knee replacement, and I realized on the screen it's the opposite. I said, if I get up to go get it, to go get, one of my grabbers, I'll just reach down here and try to get it. Oh, my Lord, LORDT. That was the hardest thing. So here is one side done, and I will cut a couple of strings that are hanging off. A lot of times when I'm piecing the different kinds of fabric or tissue, and um you can make it a collage. You can make it paper, you can make it fabric, you can make it whatever you want. But this is how I do it, and there are different ways to do it. A million different ways for everybody that does it. Everybody does it a different way. As a matter as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is dip this brush and try to like overlap it so that the edge stays stuck to the bottom. So this side gets stuck to the bottom. So this will be a little box, or not so little box, that I can put my pockets in from when I make my jeans pocket cell phone bag. So you see how this looks? It looks opaque white now, but it will dry clear. It will dry clear. Let me see what you guys are saying. Maria says she got it, but she could not get on. Sorry. That's okay, Maria. That's okay, Maria. She emailed us so that we can get on next time. Okay. So, if there's anybody, is there anybody else in the chat who I'm listening, I'm sweating. It's the heat finally came to Connecticut. Oh, Lordy. So, I will just keep doing this because I want it to dry and I want to do this part. I have an idea, probably a dumb idea, because I didn't want to stay on too long. How about this? I wonder what'll happen if I just dump it on here and then brush it on, just to save time. How about that? Dun, 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 dun. Ah, my sister loves this box. You know what's good about having a little sister? From the day your mother brought her home from the hospital, she always loved you, and anything you did, almost anything, I don't know if anything I ever did was bad or that she didn't like it. I will tell you this, from the day I came home from the hospital, my biggest supporter, the one who loved me the most, always was Auntie Joanne. Auntie Joanne. We're like Siamese twins. My mom used to dress us alike. Ah, my shoulders. She used to dress us alike. But then the poor thing, because she was so much littler than me, then when her clothes wore out, she would get my hand me downs and she had to wear them again. Poor baby. I look at some of the pictures in our yearbooks and whatnot. I wanted to be a majorette. I was always out there strutting and doing my thing. And she would be out there with her majorette uniform on and doing her thing. But it was like, she just looked like she was doing it because her sister wanted to do it. And she would rather be inside doing her art. My sister has always been an artist. She could always draw, she could always paint. As I told you, I was 66 years old before I took my first art class of any type after high school. She's a great sis. You love that box, sissy. We got scraps out there. We have all kinds of scraps at your house, all kinds of sewing machines. Another funny story. We were talking about going fast, right? So Uncle Roscoe's car is parked where the the antique treadle machine is. And last time I was out there, I didn't take the treadle machine out because I didn't want to scratch Uncle Roscoe's car. Well, we were talking about going fast. Uncle Roscoe's car is a drop top candy red vehicle and it goes from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Well, I just got my sight back. I have 20/20 vision. I was able to drive again. Who needs to be going from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds? There might be a body in front of the car. There might be somebody standing there. The people in Arizona drive so fast. Those elders, those men and those women, they retired, brought all their money out there because it stretches further. OMG. They've got some fancy, fast cars. We go into the Dollar Tree or I go over to Tractor Supply, say, Sissy, take me over there. And we just come outside and look at all the fancy cars. So you guys, I'm using all the I'm decoupaging this with the Modpodge. So I want to invite all of you to just get an old shoebox. Another funny story. You know, your brothers always look out for their sisters to see what they're doing. Well, I have one brother who is a cousin brother, right? And his name is Kenny. So he came to see me a couple weeks ago to help me in the garden. I'm just wiping the perspiration off. And he comes up, and I had some shoe boxes. Well, little young men's shoes, boys' shoes, when they're size 2 or 3, they're like the adult size of women. So my cousin comes in and he's looking around my apartment where I live, where I pay the rent, and he sees 3 black boxes on the top of the bookcase. I'll have to show you guys. I don't think you can see it. Maybe. No, I'm not going to turn it around. I will show you what I'm sitting over there again. He sees 3 men's shoe boxes with Jordan sneakers in it. And he goes, whose sneakers are those? Auntie Joyce, they do have their toys here in Arizona. They are not short of cash when they get to Arizona. But you can't go in the Goodwill and think you're going to get a pair of jeans for $2. They make show of that. They make sure we spend some of that money we brought from other places over there. Over there. So, does anybody have anything that they would like to bring up as far as this? Can you see the clear Mod Podge is sweating, glistening for y'all? Where you can see, so it's going to dry to a glaze. I will have it ready for Thursday. And do any of you have any questions? Is anybody going live later on tonight? Does anybody know of any channels going live tonight? I think they're enjoying their summer. When I go to my mom's house on Sundays, I try to go every other Sunday. There is bumper to bumper traffic. It takes an hour to get there when it should only take like a half hour. Well, it would take others half hour. I go slow, so it would be 45 minutes, but I take an hour because I ain't trying to get no speeding tickets, get my car pulled over, having to sit on the guardrail in 100-degree weather at this age. So I would like to invite each of you who is a content creator, drop your link. Drop your link so that we can all meet you. I have met a couple of you in the last couple of weeks who are new. Again, I would like to thank the people in the bushes, the moderators, the channel members, the subscribers, each and every one of you, because this channel would not be what it is today if not for you, and you. Mother, I love you. This is an I in American Sign Language. This is an L. This is a U. And hold on, you guys, until the end. If you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. And we get to share a lot of things and learn a lot of things from each other. Turn on the notification bell so that you know when I go live again. My Renaissance grandma says, I love you. Gina, you have mail. ARD, you have mail. Who else got mail? Oh, Maria Graham, you should have mail. Yankee Sister Homestead says, hashtag GQUAT. She was so pretty. Was it today with all of her turquoise on? I couldn't get back to chat, but I did see her and Francesca. They're so pretty. Does anybody have any questions before we sign off? Okay, so now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends. Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe and take care of yourself and your loved ones. Maria, not Maria, I'm sorry. Maria, we look forward to seeing you next week. I will send the link earlier out so that you can check it and come live and we can see all of the things you've been working on. Okay. So, peace, love, and blessings. Ego wamote. I love you, Mother. I love each and every one of you. Okay, so we'll